Welcome to TOMGIRL, where we talk all things sports, entertainment, fashion, and adventure. Today's guest is a director, producer, writer, actress, late-night host, podcaster, hope advocate, and champion of women filmmakers who has spent her career traveling the world and boldly going after her dreams. Welcome back to the show, Marcia Kimpton.
Thank you, JJ. It's great to be back. You're just a bright light on this planet. So thank you.
I'm so glad to have you back. It was crazy. I was so excited for this interview and I wanted to go back and watch our old one. And I couldn't believe, I was like, that was 5 years ago. I have no idea how it could possibly be 5 years ago.
I know. It shows you how time seems to compress. Is it on YouTube? Because I'd like to see it.
Yeah,
it was when
it is.
the movie Bardo Blues came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's on your YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel? Is it TOMGIRL?
It's TOMGIRL. Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look at it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure we get it, send it over to you. Yeah, no, it was such a fun interview last time too. You have so many great stories and just, experiences that's so fun to hear. So catch us up right now. You have a bunch of new projects, things you're working on right now. I just watched your newest film. Tell everybody about that.
Well, the film that I'm launching May 1st is called American in Amsterdam. It's kind of a friendship, a real life friendship with Shirley Robinson, but it's completely scripted. Even though it is a little bit of a mock documentary in the sense that we go out on the streets of Amsterdam and we interview people. So they're, I would say 95% fiction scripted, 5% is real people. But it's based on AbFab. I mean, AbFab is my favorite, kind of TV show. If you haven't seen Absolutely Fabulous, but we're not as drunk and we're not partying as much in this movie. But it is a movie that I made in 2019, and then because of COVID, we couldn't finish it because we were going back to Amsterdam in the spring of 2020, and that wasn't possible. So it's a pretty short film. It's 56 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I have launched an app called Kimpton's Travel and Film app. And it basically merges my two passions of travel and film. And it's not only do I list over 100 films it's really hard to find great films today. It's quite challenging for me to even find new ones to put on the app, even though there's great artists everywhere. But the films in general have gone down. I also have my original content on there. So I have my movie Bardo Blues on there. I will have May 1st, American in Amsterdam. I have some comedy on there. I have my book, my memoir. So it was kind of everything in one place in the app that only costs $7.99 for the year.
Yeah, I just checked it out and it was so fun to see because I didn't realize this would, because of the time, how much things have you been involved with. You really, took advantage of these last 5 years and we're doing so many things. Talk about, first let's go back to the film. So you said you had to kind of pause and finish because of COVID. What were some of the challenges in getting this one done?
Well, we didn't have enough money. I did go on, why am I going blank on the crowdfunding platform that I use, that everybody uses? God, it's so weird. I'm going blank on the name of it. What's it?
Was it GoFundMe?
No, it's not GoFundMe. It's for creative artists. That's so wild. I'll think of it. So basically, I did raise a little bit, but it was only like $5,000. And I just didn't have enough money. So it was incredibly stressful. We really shot an entire film in 9 days of Amsterdam. Wow. Yeah. And it was really fun in the sense that I ended up becoming a resident after there. Because of COVID and the lockdowns, I was like, what do I really want to do in my life? And I really wanted to live in Europe. And I always wanted to live in Amsterdam. And it's the one city I've been to more than any other city outside of New York and LA. So I created this kind of comedy film, very similar to, AbFab in the sense of this relationship between Shirley Robinson and me, and we co-wrote it. And then we also did improv a little bit in it. And I just picked my favorite spots and made Amsterdam a character unto itself for the film. So you really feel like you've been immersed in Amsterdam. And like I said, it feels a little short, but I edited it down to the best possible way. And, I didn't get a distributor. We have won, I think 6 awards. I have a new film called American Abroad that I'm going on the festival route, and I'm really putting all my emphasis in applying to film festivals because they're quite expensive. I mean, I've applied to 60 film festivals with
Wow.
that, where Amsterdam I only did like 10. But I tried to sell it, and it was really interesting how it was challenging. I mean, we got Hello Sunshine to look at it. I mean,
Mhm.
just to have them look at it was great. And they said it was too close to the morning show, which has made
Wow.
for I think 250 million, and the most I'm spent on this movie was 250,000.
Mhm.
So but yeah, it just didn't sell. And then I came up with this idea for the app. I thought, wow, I can maybe have my own film studio, my own sovereignty. But a lot of people don't buy an app, and I have to be really well known, and we'll see how that goes.
Mhm.
I was like, wow, I'm going to distribute it on my app. And it was really empowering and really exciting. And I'm really proud of the film. I mean, it's not targeted to all audiences. It's definitely targeted to women, 35 and older. But I don't know. I think it's pretty funny. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
I did. I thought it was really funny, and it's interesting that you said you and Shirley were real life friends because you have such great chemistry on there too. I'm like these are two ladies I want to go travel with and have a drink with. Like, dancing was just so fun to watch your guys'
Oh, I
relationship.
will tell her that. She'll really appreciate it. Yeah, we've been great friends for a long time. And what really happened was, is I was casting this one woman who's super funny, and I've cast her before in some of my projects, and she didn't have the dates available. And I was getting so close to the production, like we were 2 months away, and it wasn't cast. And I told Shirley, and she's an interior designer. She's like, I'll do it. And she was born to be on camera. I mean, she
Mhm.
loves the camera, and everybody says, why don't you have your own show? I think she's way funnier than me.
You're
So
both funny.
the bottom line, well, thank you. And so I had to make sure that we had the contrast in there because we're different types of personalities. And I love that you really could tell that we really were friends because we had to memorize all those lines, which for me, that's the hardest thing about acting is memorizing the lines. And I was producing, directing. I had to put the whole thing together. We did co-write it, but it was really, really a labor of love and so much fun working with her. And you can see it on the camera because even if we're acting, we were really enjoying ourselves.
Hmm. And how do you do that? Like juggling. I love that you just make things happen. You have these ideas and these creations, and you do all of it. What is that like for you?
Well, in the beginning, it was out of survival. I didn't have enough money to do the projects that I wanted to, so I had to learn. And then it's really interesting having a hometown screening here in Wilmette, right north of Chicago, at the Wilmette Theater. And I actually donated a really large amount of money at the time of COVID because all these independent theaters were going down. And I didn't want to see my hometown theater go down. And the reason why I circle back to that in this weekend is that I had an article, thanks to Casey, my PR agent and Marquis, that basically the local towns, Better Magazine, asked me, did this theater inspire me to become a film director? And I'm thinking, wow, I saw Harold and Maude, and this is, to date me, it's really was way after the launch of the movie. At 16 years old, and I'll never forget how much that film impacted me and how much I love film. Never thought I could be a female director. There were no role models. Okay. There was a few French female directors, but I can't remember any women, and I know there were, but there's still only 10% of women that do it. You don't get the opportunities. It's harder to sell women's projects. It just is. It's getting better.
Mhm.
But so it's interesting that the only reason I became a female director was my late night show went off in San Francisco. And that was my dream. I was always going to be a late night host, and I was going to be across the United States. And when it crashed and it was pulled off the air, and I had a spiritual crisis, I had to think, what is the one other thing that I would do? And it would be making movies. And again, thinking I'd have to hire a director, right? A man.
Mhm.
And I went, wait, I think I can direct. And then wait, I don't have the money to hire someone. So I learned all these roles. And I got to be honest, I love it. I mean, if anything, the
Mhm.
one role that I would take out now is acting.
Hmm.
I always dreamed of being a major actress um, and acting, and I loved it, and especially comedy. Comedy is quite hard if you've ever done it. Doing comedic timing, it's a skill that you have to learn with the camera and with the writing and the beats. And I've gotten the satisfaction of doing it. And now all I want to do is direct.
Hmm.
That's all I want to do. I don't even want to produce anymore. Still writing screenplays, but it's really wild that all I thought is I wanted to be an actress and a late night host, and I'm satisfied with it now. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's amazing how you just kept, finding yourself with that. I loved, before we've talked about how you kind of, you have your term escaping the Hollywood Bardo,
Yeah,
and
that's the name of my memoir.
yeah,
Yeah,
you remember, yeah. And so talk
yeah.
about how that kind of transition and that process for you into now doing these projects you want to do. I think you said something about, we creating our own heaven and our happiness doing projects that we want to do and not needing the outside,
Good research,
yeah.
JJ. That's a really good question. So I wrote the book to go along with the launch of my movie, Bardo Blues. And I don't really want to go into the definition of Bardo if people haven't seen the movie Bardo Blues. It's on Amazon because it kind of gives away a little bit of the movie. So do not look up that Tibetan word. And some people know it. But when I was doing the memoir, Escaping the Hollywood Bardo, which Bardo is kind of like the in-between in life and death. So I kind of gave you a little bit of it. I was really writing the book to inspire women filmmakers because there were so few of them, and I didn't want them to ever give up. And I never gave up. I had no choice. I think most artists know that. You have no choice in the art that you love to do. Now, I love to make the whole thing of a film, but people that write or they paint, whatever art they do, they have no choice. They have to do it to make them happy. And unfortunately, making movies is a very expensive hobby. It's not a hobby, it's my career, but you can paint, you can afford to paint. So when I wrote the book, I was thinking, I didn't want women to give up. And I love the question that you were saying. It was similar to the movie Bardo Blues. It was a choice every day, no matter what the adversity was in the business, and we all have adversity in life. So the book isn't just targeted to women filmmakers, it's targeted to anybody that's gone through adversity, that you just never give up. And you have to make that conscious choice every day, almost every minute, to find heaven. So, yes, we all have bad days. And when it's happening, it's like Murphy's, okay, I'm just giving up on doing five other things because every time I do this, the day is falling apart. But I'm not talking about those days. I'm talking about you constantly are getting the answer no on all your art and all your work, and you don't have enough money. How do you make a positive? Well, in Amsterdam, perfect example. I was only going to get permits for a few of the places because we didn't have enough money, right? So I decided, what are my top three things that I have to have? I had to have a coffee shop where you go in and you smoke some weed because it's just Amsterdam. I don't even do that anymore, but I had to have that. So I had to pay for that, and I had to have a bike. This bike, it's really owned by the city. You remember where all the bikes are, the
Hmm.
parking lot. I mean, there's so many bikes and it's just so visually. So I had to pay for that. And I'm trying to think of Melo Mello, the club. It's a very legendary club, and like all the great jazz people and the Rolling Stones used to play down that street. So I had to have those three things. So then I would list the other things that were beautiful to me. And I literally maneuvered myself with each person in each situation to try to get them free. And I did. And
Hmm.
it was wild. And then I got a Dutch location producer who's a great friend with me, Diederik de Man, and he'll be in every project and has, but he lowered his rate. Okay. Then he goes into Melo Mello, and I know it's going to cost me $1,000, which is a lot of money for me of one location. At the end, I don't even want to say how low the owner went to, but all I know is he said, I love what you're doing. I love your passion. I see that you're sincere about our city and what you want to do about music in the film. I'm not going to charge you what I said. And I was just in shock. So it was this great example of that you keep on getting no or you don't have enough money. So how can you be creative to find the yes and to make opportunities? And if you're passionate and you're honest and you're truthful, I mean, those are the same words, but you really want to do art, like you really want to show Amsterdam. The Dutch are such nice people. They see it. And it was really, I mean, but my first film was in San Francisco, same thing. Every single person I went to, they kept on giving me locations for free and
Mm.
this for free and food for free. It was really it's really been amazing writing that book and then not not focusing on the negative, but choosing the positive and then seeing how the universe just keeps on supporting you in whatever you want to do if you just don't give up.
Hmm. Well, and I think people recognize your great enthusiasm you know, and passion and positivity. It's very infectious, and people, I feel like, want to help other people that have that, you know.
Yeah, well, you have that too.
Oh,
So thank you. I
thank,
appreciate that.
thank you. I also, you, other projects that you've been doing. I want to talk about the Bright Lights Late Nights. I love this because it was another project where you were gonna wanted to feature musicians or artists that are not as well known, and shed a light on them.
Yeah, so I have that on my app. I totally forgot to, yeah, this is the original content. I had this feeling, and we won't go into my age because I feel like I'm ageless, that if I died tomorrow, what would be the one thing I had to have completed? And that's to do the late night show again. Because when I was 38 years old, I met every single person in Hollywood, all male executives, and they all said the world isn't ready for a woman in late night. And I had this local show that was sponsored by Budweiser up in San Francisco. A new general manager comes in, he takes me off the air 14 weeks. It was so devastating. And then, I applaud Chelsea Handler to pull it off later. It was so devastating that I went into such a spiritual crisis because I had seen this vision that this was all I was going to do. Is I had worked in comedy and I had worked in as an entertainment reporter on the Fox morning show. I'd done all these comedic segments and I had my dream and then it was pulled away from me. So it was interesting to go back so many years later and think, okay, what is the one? I again had a limited budget, but what is the one thing I want to do before I die? And it was to do this late night show.
Mm.
And it was a little bit different. I mean, deep down inside, I really wanted a little bit more rock and roll, but it was very much focused on, well, I picked the one country that I had filmed in, which was South Africa. And it's the infrastructure is so easy for filming there. They just do so many movies. I love the landscape. It's so stunning. I love the artists from there. And I was meeting artists through this producer. I was doing my research. We got Zulu music. So it's indigenous of the music of their country. And it's such great music in the
Mm.
show. So, and then I found a filmmaker. I found who was actually from Namibia, right next door, because I was having a hard time finding a female filmmaker. But she had won at the Durban South African International Film Festival, and she has spent most of her life filming between the two countries. So I found a filmmaker, an incredible painter who grew up right out, well, in Johannesburg, and literally worse than Watts.
Mm.
Soweto, it's one of the poorest places on planet Earth. And he pulled himself out of that town and is an incredible, prolific filmmaker. Artist, and people buy his paintings all around the world. It's amazing, historic. And then I found a local winemaker because their wine is just as great as the French and the California wine. So that was really fun. Found an incredible architect. And he does do different, each country always has different architects, but it's really an artist and their imprint in architect. He's also an incredible painter. Found a chef, but it was really more that they did a tour in Beaucamp, which is a part of Cape Town where it's all colorful. And the reason why it's colorful is because it was so poor and depressing during the apartheid times that they decided to paint these houses beautiful, bright colors to make
Mm.
themselves feel better. Oh, it's a
Mm.
cool section. It has the best kind of food and it has, a Malaysian influence in it. So we got a chef, let's see, a chef, the painter, the architect, the filmmaker. What am I missing?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I think I got five out of the six. Oh, fashion designer. He had super hip little store in Cape Town. So, I did it one night right outside of Cape Town in Stellenbosch, which is like Burgundy or, California wine country. We filmed it. I interviewed all these people in advance, and it was a dream come true, and I
Wow.
felt complete. And my dream is to go around the world and literally find all these artists that you don't know and showcase them in a unique late night show, like a party. And I believe I'm going to do it, but I did
Yeah.
do the thing that I wanted to.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. I love that idea. I would watch that. I loved that when
Thank
I saw
you.
that on your app. And so your family, your dad was
Thank
Bill
you.
Kimpton with Kimpton Hotels, obviously different hotels around, and you had this,
Yeah.
started this love of travel. Talk about kind of his influence, and now what it's like for you combining this on your app, having where you're combining, your love of film with your love of travel and destinations, and this one-stop shop for people on your app.
Yeah, I grew up in two families. My mother remarried, and so I grew up north of Chicago, where I am right now, on the North Shore. And then I would go. My dad left when I was 8, and to San Francisco, so I'd go and visit him. And both sets of the families love to travel, but my dad impacted me so greatly because he really was 20 years old going on a motorcycle throughout Europe. And he really realized that the hotels were not the same. They were very much more personal and family oriented, more like pensions. And he always had that in the back of his head. And so if I would go with either family, well, at 18, my family in Chicago, as my graduation gift, was to go to Europe. And that changed my life. I mean, there was, 5 or 6 countries we went to with my stepfather, and I knew then I was going to be traveling the rest of my life. But I did grow up with a father where aesthetics were really important. He talked about in the 1980s when I was just in college, he talked about how each one of the hotel rooms, and mostly, unless you went to the Hyatt or the Hilton, but even then, were pretty much white walls. So he had this vision of really putting art and great design into the hotels. And now we all take it for granted, but there were not boutique hotels until dad started. So it was interesting how he would go on these travels and talk about bringing this back or this idea. And it was instilled. But I mean, deep down inside, I really believe in astrology. I mean, I'm on the cusp, which is a comedic skit in my next movie, American Abroad. And it says I'm Capricorn, but I'm really a Sagittarius. And Sagittarius have to be moving and traveling. I'm about to go to Amsterdam today, then Paris, then Cannes, Nice. South of France is my dream place. And I lived 1 year while I was also living in Amsterdam in the south of France, just because the weather was so bad, and lived out that fantasy. But I just have to be traveling. I'm a free spirit. And that's why I put the app together, because it lists all that. And I will say my dad did have a real direct influence because he was always traveling too. He just
Mm-hmm.
loved traveling, meeting new cultures and new artists and new people.
Mm-hmm. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about you've also had kind of a shift in your life where, before you talked about maybe having some wine and weed or, different things. And now you've started to really find wellness and first hot yoga and different wellness practices. Has that kind of shifted your mentality or, how you show up day to day and that practice impacted your life
Well, I'm
now?
sure I'd be an alcoholic if I didn't find hot yoga. I think most artists, have addiction issues, but I found it at 32 and it's changed my life. And I do it, well, recently when I was in Hawaii for the last 8 months, I did it 6 days a week. But I've always done it 3 days a week. And if my daughter would say, Mom, you do so much yoga and meditation. And I said, you want to see me without it? So I did really take that bottle of Chardonnay, which is my favorite thing, or some French Burgundy, and kind of throw it out the door. And I don't drink that much anymore. And I really, really have a deep connection to the divine. We all have it. It's just that when you drink less and you spend more time in yoga and meditation, it does become, stronger. I mean, it's just, those books, the 5,000-year-old Vedic, Upanishads are actually saying the truth. So I just got a deeper connection with God. And I think, again, like I said, when my late night show went off the air, that was when my real spiritual crisis began. I was already doing yoga in order. I had to deal with depression. We had it in our family, and I had depression because just being an artist and not being seen in Hollywood. So I literally healed my depression, not, well, in the beginning, it was weed and alcohol through yoga and meditation, and it became deeper and deeper. And then I rarely get depressed. And I saw the chemical changes in my body, and I saw my connection to God. And when I had that spiritual crisis, I started studying Emanuel Swedenborg, 17th century mystic from Sweden. And that's what wrote Bardo Blues along with Buddhism. So I really studied this mystical Christianity and Buddhism. I really studied all religions, went to India a bunch of times, just to, understand Hinduism. And so in that spiritual crisis, there was the awakening. We're always awakening every day. I mean, that's the truth. Are you going downward, upward? Are you finding heaven, no matter how hellish it is? But the one thing that I feel like since that moment and how different I am today is that I do know that I don't get off. It's not just depression. I don't get off with my connection with God. I really believe the universe has my back. I really listen very carefully into my intuition. And one of the reasons, even though I had a fabulous weekend having this screening and had tons of Chardonnay and white Burgundy, is that I can feel my connection to God is less. So what used to be where I would drink every single night, it's that I don't even want to do it because I love the connection because it's always guiding you. It's
Mm-hmm.
always taking you in a new creative direction. That's for sure. And I'm an artist, but it's guiding you with the people, the new experience. Basically, life is one big experience. And having been through enough hellish experiences, and I'm not saying my hell is any worse than anybody else's, I really found that the connection of God was allowing me to keep on co-creating better and better experience because Hollywood is brutal. And even Brad Pitt would say that, and he's had an
Mm-hmm.
amazing career. Like if Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie can't stay together, right? And I love both of them as artists and they're, philanthropists. Then you know what I mean? Everybody has problems. He's got money in the bank and he's got a great career and he can work until he dies. I didn't have that kind of life, and I thought I was going to have that life. And so, what I do have more than anything is a deeper connection with God, knowing that this is actually perfect. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to be doing these wellness retreats. Maybe I'm supposed to be talking about, I'm thinking I'm going to go on a Bardo Blues tour to synagogues and churches in next year. Because when I got up, I hadn't shown the film in 5 years because it came out in 2019 and I talked about how we really are eternal and why I know unequivocally when my brother died and I really spoke about it and how this horrible tragedy and made a movie about it that I have such a deeper connection with God and I thought the times are really dark right now. Maybe I should be going with this movie and talking about this deep connection I have with the divine.
Mm-hmm. And talk about the wellness retreats. I find that, very fascinating what you're going to do with those.
Well, I'm starting very, very small. I've got like four amazing places in Hawaii that I can do, but the price points are a little too expensive for me to just start. And people can find luxury anywhere. I'm not doing luxury. I'm doing that if you come in one day, by the time you leave, you're going to be a different person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that your life has completely changed. The only objective to it is, of course, relaxation. There will be yoga, there will be massage. I'm going to get my acupuncturist. We'll do some kind of water activity because I'm also going to do Lake Tahoe and Hawaii. But it's really about a shift in consciousness. And that's the one thing I can guarantee because of all the work I've
Mm-hmm.
done. So I'm putting it at a price point that's really affordable. And right now, the yoga teacher from Colorado is doing the October and January retreats, and they may just sell out because she's got such a following. And then right now I'm debating about November because I'm listed with it, but I've submitted to 60 film festivals, so I may be at film festivals and just do it later. But that's where I have a Hawaii yoga person. And then I'm trying to do one for April 2026, go to Bhutan, because Bhutan is
Ooh.
not an easy place to plan. And I love Bhutan and I want to take a group there. And I may turn it into retreats of the south of France. I'm just, what I really want to do is I want to make sure it's affordable. And I found this great place in Hawaii, but it's affordable and that you walk away not feeling pressured to have changed, but something has changed in your
Mm.
life. And that's my goal, is to kind of give back to, these retreats.
Yeah. Where can people find information on those retreats or sign up?
Uh, Yeah, on my website, and it should be on my app, but making an app I found out was not a fun experience. I would never do that again, ever. It's not like making a you make a film. I mean, maybe if you love technical stuff, then you're enjoying it, because that's what you do, develop apps. But making a film, no matter how hard it is always enjoyable. I love the challenge. Making an app was just terrible, but it should be on my app. But no matter what, it's at marciakimpton.com. And then you just send me an email because, again, we only have 8 slots. It's very boutique-y, but it's not luxury because of the price point we're doing right now. But if it does get bigger, I've got, oh my God, this place in Kona, it looks like you're going to Bali and you don't have to get on a flight for, I think Bali, honest to God, is 26 hours. And this place, you don't get the Balinese people, which I love,
Yeah.
but you feel like you went to Bali in this one place. So I'm working on doing other ones. I'm just trying to, I didn't realize that I would be so motivated to submit this new film, American Abroad, while I got a distributor into 60 festivals. So it kind of slowed down the retreat situation.
And not to go to the negative, but I did want to ask you about the creation of the app and how what that process was like. But now you say was
I
not so
wouldn't
great. What was
recommend
so
it to
challenging
anybody.
about it?
Everything, every single thing from the beginning to the end. And even right now when I'm updating, so I want to make it more user friendly for, like, if you want to, like I said, I list 100 films. So I want you to be able to see drama, romance, comedy on the app, so you don't have to scroll. I didn't put a
Mhm.
lot of money into it, but I put enough that I want that. This is just a process. I'm not a technical person. I'm a creative person.
Mhm.
So for me, there is nothing fun about trying to figure out how to make it more user friendly. What I do love about an app, and again, it's only $7.99 and you get so much content. I mean, if you saw it, there's a
Mhm.
lot there.
A lot.
Is that it's sovereignty. And I think Hollywood really is changing. And I think that, if you can really develop your own platform, and that's what you've done, which is beautiful, you can make your own money, just not on YouTube, but you can make it on an app, and you can target just to the people that are interested in you. And I love the sovereignty, but I
Mhm.
have nothing positive to say. It's taken 2 years, and it's still a struggle for me,
Mhm.
honestly.
On a more positive note, like what are like some advice you can give to folks to because I just love your drive and determination and you just keep finding a way to do things your way. You have your crew that you work with and you travel to these amazing places. What tips and advice for people to just go out there and make their dreams come true?
Well, I think I'm going to repeat myself. I think it is your connection to the divine, because I think each one of us has our own individual mark here in this world. And for people that want to make films, you want to create your stories. So you got to find your story. What is your story? And I don't think it's necessarily murder and blood and gore. That's what's selling, which I don't understand. I think each person has their own story. And if you're a creative person, where are you going to express that story? First off, as kids in kindergarten, everybody was doing art, right? So
Yeah.
what happened along the way? And again, if you're a technical person and you enjoy doing apps, there is something creative there. I just don't like the process of it. So I think that everybody has to find their own story and then start writing. And I've given this advice, just keep on writing and writing and writing every day. Write, no matter what job you're at, write for 30 minutes, because one, you process, well, there's two things that just happened. I'm just remembering this. I have given the advice everybody should write their own memoir. It's very painful, not for
Mhm.
anybody to read. Because when I wrote the memoir, I processed a lot of pain and tragedy. So when you and it honestly it is better if you put it's pen to paper. There's some kind of process that
Mhm.
happens, but most of us do it on a computer. If you write your memoir, there is a story in there that you can make a movie or an art piece, anything. There's a
Mhm.
story there that's your own individual story. But what happens when you write your own memoir is that you heal everything that happened and you see that there was a reason, you see the patterns, you see how you don't want to repeat certain things. And most of us, it's just from our childhood trauma, and it just keeps on repeating, repeating, repeating until you clear. And that's why I do so much meditation and yoga, because I can clear the trauma and I can get this deeper connection with God. And then I'm not co-creating, dating another asshole. I'm co-creating, meeting greater guys, but that's not even my objective in life is to meet another man. My objective in life, honestly, at first as an artist, and obviously a mother is very important to me because I'm a mother, but the mo is to constantly co-create a new experience with better and
Mhm.
better people and better qualities. So when you write the memoir, you find the story, whatever story that is, you either clear that storyline out so a new storyline comes in. And what you find that is happening, which I think is so profound, you're creating your own movie of your life. So basically, you are editing out the past, right? Because the past can no longer live in you if you have no trauma or emotions around it. So once you get through
Mhm.
it, it no longer exists. So most of us are just walking around unconscious, and I didn't know that. I was doing that for years. Then you become conscious, and then what you're doing is you're just constantly bringing the light of God, divine universe, in you to create whatever movie you want to do next. The hard part, and I know this, and I'm very lucky that I got some money later in my life because my dad passed, but I didn't have any extra money than anybody else and was working for it, is that it's how do you make money doing what you love to do?
Mhm.
And that is the hardest challenge, I think, for almost everybody. And then what's interesting is a lot of people that have a lot of money are not happy people.
Mhm.
They're not walking around in their joy. So I don't know what was the disconnect with getting the money. So they're no longer having to worry about it, right? But then all of a sudden they're worrying about their money, right? And they have plenty. So it's interesting. I think everybody's got a story. Everybody should clear out what has happened to them and then start co-creating their own movie constantly that is a new experience of exactly what you want. And part of that is just writing it down. Where,
Mhm.
where do you where do you want to travel next, JJ? Where do you want to go next?
Oh gosh, so many
Tell me.
places. I mean, Thailand, somewhere I would like to go. I
Just
want to
give
go
me
to
one.
Costa Rica. Let's say Thailand.
Okay. Two great places, Costa Rica and Thailand. Costa Rica recently has gotten more expensive. It used to be really affordable. Thailand, northern Thailand. There's so many amazing places in Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai
Mhm.
where we filmed that are affordable. You'll have incredible food, so it's really just the ticket going on there. So one co-creation of exactly what we're talking about. I wrote the movie and then I got the location guy, and every location he went to, it was exactly what I had in my head. It was
Mhm.
bizarre. Like the cafe on the water, I went, oh my God. It's like, yeah, you want a cafe on the water? And then that was one of the few times in my life where I literally co-created the movie because I wrote it on the page, I saw it, and then the next thing you know, the location guy's taking me to it. So the only thing that keeps you from going to Thailand, I'm not saying you, just figurative, um, is the blocks of thinking you either, I mean, I'm not saying you, just anybody,
Mhm.
not having enough money, right? Not having enough time, right? Having things that you're trying to accomplish. So if you decide that that is a top priority for 2025 or 2026, I can guarantee you'll get there.
Hmm.
And so it's really interesting once you understand how, I think Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this.
I love
You
him.
can co-create.
Hmm.
I love him. You can co-create this new reality once you clear out the old reality.
Hmm. Oh yeah, this is all resonating so deeply with me right now. Totally. I've just gone through
Yeah.
a layoff in the entertainment industry and have that thing of like, oh, trying to
Oh,
save money, or but then not living in that mentality and wondering what's next
it's
and
so
working.
hard right
So
now, the
yeah,
industry. I mean,
yeah.
I have a lot of friends in there, and the only thing that I can say is that it would be normal to be fearful, but just don't ever go into the fear. Just keep on saying, I am provided for. The answers are coming, and they do. And the other thing I was going to say, this prayer changed my life because I kind of had a health crisis because I was actually producing too much. I
Mm,
was I went to 18 countries, I think, in 1 year and filming, no, 2 years. I was doing too much and it was bad for my health, actually. And I wasn't getting enough yoga. And so this
mm,
prayer called Devi prayer, Devi prayer, it's on YouTube. It changed my life. You can do it any time of the day, even for 10 minutes. It immediately connects you to the divine. It's like a 5,000-year-old Vedic prayer. It works. I can tell you, and every
mm,
person that I've given it to has said that it's changed their life. And it does, because what it does, it takes you out of fear. And it's just a real feminine, beautiful prayer
mm,
and immediately puts you in the divine. So then the second you're out of fear and you're back in the divine, you're co-creating because God only wants you to have a great life. So so the entertainment business is a beast and it's dark, okay? But you're a light in it. So
mm,
God wants you to be lighting up the world with your vision in this world. So, okay, it's horrible what's going on in the industry and things are breaking apart. So where is your new
mm,
vision for yourself, light, and industry? And then it's really hard because money is a real reality, but you have to go, oh, that was a blessing that I was let go. That was a blessing because I'm about to create more abundance and more. And these are just words once you clear out the unconscious. And that's what Joe Dispenza and a lot of people talk really well about. And that's what I want to do in the retreat. So
mm.
if the issue is that we just want to talk about money and manifesting more money, I want to say, what's the one thing you want to change in your life? So we've got 4 days, and how are we going to do it? And so that's what I want to help people with in these retreats.
Love it. Sign me up. All right. Well, thank you so much. It's always so fun talking with you. I just love you to death, and I'm just so inspired by you. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time.
Well, you did great research, and I just love your enthusiasm for my work. And thank you for watching the film, and thank you for laughing. I'm
Yeah.
just, I just really excited to show my art, and I
Yeah.
appreciate this.
Yeah. Of course.
That
Of
this is
course. Can you tell everybody again what's coming up next for you, where they can follow you, where they can watch all your films and get the app?
Yeah, well, really cool opportunity that I got thanks to Casey, my PR agent, is I'm doing a once a month article on Guru's magazine of a place that I love. I just did one called A Love Affair in Amsterdam. I'm sure my next one's going to be called Pink in Paris because I'm going to be wearing pink. But I'm looking for cool spots in Paris. So I'm starting to do these travel articles that will go in an addendum to my app. But again, everything is at marciakimpton.com, and that's MarciaKimpton.com. And you can basically find all my art, everything right there. But the real future goal outside of doing these retreats is really developing this app so that when you're looking for something good to watch on TV, you go down my list, and it takes a lot of work to find
Mm,
these, and you find a movie that you think is cool, and it's easy. If you're going on a trip, you're just getting my curated unique vision. You want something a little bit different, like a late night show out of South Africa and hear about some artists. You want a kind of cool movie, laugh and see Amsterdam. There it is. So that's
yeah.
that's the future for me.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you so very much. Everybody get out there, get the app, follow Marcia, watch her shows. I mean, they make you want to travel too. When I see your stuff, watching your videos this week, I was just like, oh, now I really want to explore the world. So
I got a great new social media person, and she's making these little videos of traveling, and I'm really thrilled with it because that's what I'm here to do. Is to motivate you to travel and have new experiences.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
Thank
you
JJ.
so much.
It was so fun.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow TOMGIRL everywhere on social media, YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and get out there. We'll see you here next time. Bye-bye.